seeing these financial institutions partnering up with these tech companies that are bringing new customer-centric approaches to the market, and still being a part of that value chain. And that really does mean the business can continue to be successful if they work hard at it.
Yeah, and I mean, I'd like to personally see Wells Fargo get a little more aggressive with pursuing partnerships with some of the fintechs. I think that would do them good. Like you said, a lot of companies don't want to be banks themselves, but are partnering with the big banks.
Yeah,
I know J.P. Morgan has a bunch of partnerships in that respect, and so does Bank of America, for that matter.
yeah.
Wells Fargo really hasn't had that level of success. Bank of America, when I've talked about them before, you mentioned that, and I still like Bank of America. I mean, they're my biggest bank stock holding,
Yeah.
but they've done a much better job than Wells Fargo of embracing technology. And
Yeah, I mean, as a Bank of America account holder, I can tell you they've done a really good job with that. And I mean, we have Bank of America accounts, and it's not because I just love Bank of America, but we've had them forever, and they've been just very, very acceptable. Like it's been good service and good tech there that makes it very easy to bank with them. And I'm glad you mentioned that in regard to the bank's aspect of it, because really, I mean, I view that ultimately it's a competitive advantage. I mean, the costs and the barriers that come with actually being a bank. I mean, there are a lot of rules and regulations, a lot of capital ratios you have to adhere to. I mean, that is not an easy life being a bank, and so that to me does feel like a competitive advantage to a degree at least.
yeah, no, absolutely. And I mean, Wells Fargo, you mentioned costs in there.
Yeah,
Um, that's something. That's another thing Wells Fargo needs to do a lot better, and I think they will with their new leadership. We didn't mention earlier that they have like the worst efficiency ratio of any of the big banks. Their efficiency ratio, if you're not familiar, is essentially how much banks are paying to generate their revenue.
yeah,
So an efficiency ratio of 50% means they're spending 50 cents for every dollar of revenue they're generating. Most of the big banks have been in the 50s over the past couple of years. Wells Fargo's was 68 in 2019 and 65 in 65 in 2018 and 68 in 2019.
ouch.
Um, they're pretty high efficiency ratios. Their priority for the past decade, as misguided as it was to cross-sell as many products to their customers as possible to make their sales
Yeah,
goals.
yeah,
All the other banks prioritized embracing technology and reducing expenses. The other banks won.
yep,
But so Charlie Scharf he's going to cut $10 billion of expenses from Wells Fargo, is his big priority. And it's so nice to see them shift to that mindset away from just straight sales goals. Because there's two ways to make money in business. So you can increase your sales or you can decrease your expenses. And they've really neglected the latter of those two. And it's nice to see them, finally prioritizing it.